Welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. It's so good to be here. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Here we are, third week in a row.
We should, you know what?
I'm
We need a
excited.
trophy or some sort of we need an applause. I gotta find that.
What we need is a counter on our show that says we've gone this many days without missing a show.
Yeah. Don't jinx
It's been 3 days since we missed a show.
Right?
This is great. I love it. So excited.
No kidding.
Me too.
This is fun. So, how you guys doing? How was your week?
Go for it,
You're
Trevor.
first, Lynda.
Oh,
I beat you.
Yeah, you beat me. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Well, busy, but pretty good. You know, here in Ontario, we've had amazing weather, like the sun, and it's really warm. And every day I look outside and I think, when is the shoe going to drop? Because it's February and it's supposed to be snowy and it's supposed to be like icy. And I saw a robin the other day and I'm thinking, well, this is a little strange. So, but I'm not complaining. I'm really not complaining. No. But it's
You
good.
sound a little bit like you're complaining. No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah, right. No, not
But you
complaining.
don't.
No. How about you, Trevor?
It's been a great week over here. We actually had snow the other day, and I kind of chuckled because of all the people, especially that had recently moved in from out of state, were talking about, oh, the weather over here is getting warm early. Oh, this is going to be a great, we're getting out of winter. And I'm like, just wait. This is Idaho. This is not how this works. And sure enough, boom, got nailed with some more snow. And the cold weather came back, so it's been below freezing every morning. It's February. But no, I've got 2 boys that are in the middle of the wrestling season right now, so I've been doing that nonstop with them. My oldest boy qualified for the district tournament, so we're going to go to districts this week and get to watch him do his thing. And then my youngest boy, this is his first time wrestling. He got his very first pin yesterday in a match, so he was really on cloud 9 over that one, so that was pretty fun. So that's kind of, just other than that, and then just trying to keep up with all the other stuff I'm trying to do with Western Idaho Paranormal, and getting ready to try to take a promotional exam at work. And
so basically you're just being really lazy and hanging around on the couch and doing nothing.
Play a lot of Genshin Impact, stuff like that.
Yeah. You're playing Zelda,
Zelda, Mario Brothers, Call of Duty. So anything I can get out of doing adult work for a little while.
Yeah. Exactly.
How about you, Kathy? You're good?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good. Yesterday was my birthday. It was so fun.
Happy birthday, Kathy.
I went out for dinner with my
29
kids.
now, right?
Huh?
You're 29 now? Is that what I heard?
31.
Okay.
31.
All right.
My daughter might argue with you because she's like 33, but that's okay.
The schools don't teach math well these years. She's just mistaken.
It's the new math.
Yes.
The new math.
The new math.
New math. That's what we're calling it. It's the new math. So that's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm viewing it today. No, it was really good. Went out for dinner with my kids and we had lots of fun. And I always, we have so many birthdays like right together. And so this time of year, I actually love it because we have, my son-in-law's birthday is like the 27th of December, but there's Christmas. We got Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, Christmas, his birthday. My daughter's is the 6th. I'm of January. I'm the 10th of February. My son is 25th of February. My mom's was the 5th of March, but but we always have these, like, we always go out for dinner and we spend all this time together. And these are the times that you count your blessings. Like, you count your blessings more, I think, each year, right? Like,
yeah, it's true.
So very, very happy, very, very blessed. It was had a really good time. So So actually, we went to this restaurant. It's called Original Joe's. It's here in Edmonton. And we've been there now a couple of times. And every time we go, we get the most amazing service. I just want to give them a shout out. Like, honestly, if anybody from Edmonton is watching, and my sister, actually, she was with us, and my sister actually said to the waitress, like, look at, every time we come here, we get the most amazing, absolute service. Like, she even came up to me with a birthday card. Like, how many restaurants will do that? Like, she found out it was my birthday and she came back a few minutes later with like a little, coupon and a birthday card and the whole bit. Then it was hand signed and handwritten in. So it wasn't like
That's
somebody
cool.
there,
So
and
I got a question then, because you're on this topic. I'm just very, very curious. So in Canada, when you go out to a restaurant, you tell people that it's your birthday. Do they make their employees come around the table and sing happy birthday to you?
It's up to you if you want them to do that. So,
I think that's like the worst thing ever to make.
I don't want that.
These people don't care that it's my birthday. It's like they didn't like.
Yeah.
Was that in the job description when you signed up? Like,
Yes.
oh, you will be required to sing happy birthday to you.
Yeah. Because I don't sing whatsoever, and I would ruin somebody's birthday by like.
I don't know. I think you probably when we sing, like my family tradition is when we sing happy birthday to each other, we do it in the most off-key, horrible way possible. And it's awesome. So.
I just don't like it when they make you wear the lice-ridden moose hat or whatever,
Oh yeah. Thankfully, we don't have anything like that. So we stayed away from restaurants that do that. But
good.
Yeah, no, I did not get sang to, but I did get a birthday card. So I was happy with that. Nice. I thought that was really sweet. So
that is nice.
Let's bring on our guest. I'm so excited. So usually, Mr. Cody Carlisle is in our comment section, but he is.
You can see the comment section is completely empty right now.
Yeah, I noticed that.
We still got viewers though. I'm gonna let you introduce him, Trevor, because he's a good friend of yours, and you can. Cody's like, it is. I love this. I'm gonna let you introduce him, and we'll bring him on.
All right. Well, so today's guest is Cody Carlisle. I've known Cody for 12, 13, 14 years. It's been a minute. And Cody and Cody was a ghost hunter or paranormal investigator on my previous team. He came along. He left that team with us, became one of the co-founders of Western Idaho Paranormal. He is our webpage guru. So if you go to www.widpara.com, he kind of controls and builds that webpage for us. He also does a lot of filmography, videography, and stuff like that for the team. He has recently graduated from Full Sail University, doing one of those things. You can tell us exactly what his videography. I'm going to get it wrong. He did something with cameras and making movies. He's very talented in that aspect. So, and he's going to be talking to us today about paranormal photography and all that. So let's bring him on.
Hello, Cody. How you doing?
Hello. Doing good. Thanks for having me here.
We are so thrilled to have you here. I'm just going to switch you guys around for some reason. It's easier for me to focus in over here. But yeah, we are so thrilled to have you. You're a pilot, is that right?
No, I'm not a pilot. I'm actually a flight attendant. I'm the one that hands out drinks and keeps people happy.
Yes, you're the one that has to deal with all us miserable humans that are flying.
Right. Not all are miserable, though.
That's good. Welcome to the show. We are so excited to have you here. So tell us a little bit, because Trevor brought it up, about the film school, and what did you learn, and not what did you learn? What did you take? Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. So I graduated from Full Sail University, which is basically the equivalent and arch rival of LA, the West Coast's LA Film School, but this one's over on the East Coast in Florida, right outside of Orlando. And I took their digital cinematography course, which normally it's a 4-year standard college, but all of the knowledge and information that they teach you is basically condensed and they have to give it all to you within 1 to 2 years. So it's a very expedited, very fast-paced course that you have to keep up with. I learned pretty much everything behind the camera that takes place on a film set, from script writing to lighting to props, designs, camera work, you name it. So a lot of what takes place on a film set behind the
Right.
scenes, I can pretty much do anything.
That's amazing. That's really
Yeah.
good.
Really
Good
cool.
for you. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
A lot,
So, what's that?
ton of information. Ton of information. I actually graduated as valedictorian. Woohoo.
Good for you.
Wow.
There was only one person in that class, right? I'm just kidding. Joking.
I think so.
I'm joking.
Me, myself, and I.
3 people. Please.
He does really work. He's very detailed and stuff. He worked on we were at a convention a couple years ago, and we had him, my daughter, we decided we were going to film a promo for the convention, and he put all this together kind of like just super quick at that day. Got everything shot and filmed, and then he was able to edit it all down. He does a bang up job. So he's very, very detailed oriented, and so, which is nice to see people taking pride in their work for once. So, but yeah, because that's kind of lost these days, I think. So good for you, man.
That is true.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So, saying that, I would guess that you would actually be one of those experts, or at least a very, very good person to go to when we have those, pictures coming through from people that are like, "Hey, here's my dust. Can you tell me if it's a spirit?"
I caught a ghost, and it looks like
I was vacuuming, and when I was done, I couldn't believe all the ghosts that were in the house. Like,
yeah, I mean, more so with the video portion, but
right.
Some photography. We have another team member that is way more knowledgeable on the photography portion of it, Pete Kruger, and so I learned that portion from him. But yeah, for the most part, I can pretty much distinguish. Oh, this is a special effect, and this is how it was accomplished.
Right. So let's talk about spirit photography a little bit. Tell us, is there anything in particular that you look for, or is there any particular setup that you do in order to catch when you guys are on an investigation to catch spirits?
Well, we have standard methodology that we use as far as we go in, we set up all of our equipment, let it run by itself for a substantiated amount of time. And then we go in and we sit with the equipment and just supervise. And then we go into our question and answer phase, EVP questions and whatnot. Honestly, we don't really, I don't know how to explain it. As far as photography and videography go, it's more or less whatever we catch during the digital investigation portion. Most people call it evidence review, but we've started calling it the digital investigation, which is the second part of the actual investigation. That's when if we come across anything in photos or video that might be questionable, we clip it and we post it to the team as a whole to get feedback and input.
Right.
And then if something could be fake, so if a client sends us something before we go and investigate and we break it down and we analyze it, we've got many different tools at our disposal besides using Pete. There's places you can go on the internet. There's a really good they call it, there's a ghost app for that, and we'll literally go through there and see, okay, is this picture of a ghost, has it been used as a part of an app? And then we'll be like, this is the app, this is the ghost. And this is like how many times.
And this is getting thrown out.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Do
you
you have any caught?
Oh, go ahead, Kathy.
I was just going to ask, have you guys caught anything like that? Have you caught your client?
We get photos from people that have been doctored, clearly been doctored. And the technology that's out there right now is just gets better and better, and it gets harder and harder because everything is looking so much real. It used to be like you could tell visually that something was photoshopped.
Yeah.
But, and nowadays if people get the right programs, that they're willing to spend a little bit of money and get the right programs, you look at it and it looks real. And fortunately I've got guys like my tech Pete Kruger and I got Cody here that can dive into the actual code of the camera or the picture itself, because every digital photo has its own identity, its own fingerprints, and it'll tell you everything that's been done to that photo, from when it was taken to what was done, if any editing software has been used. It all gets stamped into the code of the photo, and they have a way of getting into that and looking at it, and they can distinguish it from there. So which is
the metadata of that photo.
But in our
that it reminds me of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, where she kept trying to argue the metadata. Go look at the metadata.
She knew one big word, okay, and that's what she had to go with.
Right. We're just gonna keep throwing out this metadata.
People know. I mean, the thing is, people know that you can ascertain that all of this stuff has been done to their photos, and yet they still try. And that's what always gets me. Is like, why would you even try if you know that we have the technology?
I think, and Cody can tell you too. I think people are looking just to get that. They're looking for those groups that don't care, right? That the ones that are just, they want to post exciting stuff, and that's
what validation
and TikTok and Instagram. It's all exciting. Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. They don't care if it's real or not. It's just cool. And so, most of those videos that people watch of like this great, like even like those life moments where people are like, oh, look at this person stopping to help this poor stray dog, blah, 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 blah. And yet there happened to be a camera somebody there to film the whole thing from different angles. And we're not calling BS on this. How, it's all scripted. It's all stupid. And when these people get called out for it, they get mad. They don't like that. So, and anymore, when anybody asks if, hey, can I submit a photo? Yep, absolutely. You can submit a photo, but be prepared, because we'll tell you exactly what we think about it. So, and it may not be.
Well, and I find it funny because we've called out on our Facebook page, Edmonton Paranormal Society. We've had people that have posted nonsense, right? And it's a large page. Like, we have a few thousand followers on there, and immediately most of them are like, no, we're calling this out. This is nonsense. This is that. And you always have that one person that's like, oh, boo-hoo, you guys are being mean to me. Oh, I can't. And it's almost like using that, trying to create a sympathy, narrative or something like that, so that they get their validation. And it's like, what? Go to one of these groups like you're talking about, Trevor. Like, just go there. Like, why are you even wasting your time on this? Because you're going to have people that are going to call you out, and you are going to have people. There's a few thousand people on here. They're not morons. Like, they're going to have some knowledge of something, right? So,
and that's one of the reasons why teams like ours exist, right? Is to try to educate people. It's like, there are real ghosts, there are real photos, and there are real videos, and there's actual evidence out there, but there's also a lot of bullcrap out there too. So, and then we get the other photos too that are the unintentionals, right? Somebody who really believes that they captured something. They didn't doctor the photo or anything, but it's just not what they think it is. It's just,
Right.
and that we can explain it away, and they don't like that either because, and Cody, maybe you can talk a little bit about this, cameras versus the naked eye, what is, how does a lens look at the world versus how our eyes see the world?
So our eyes actually work very much like cameras, just minus all the gears, gadgets, and gizmos. If you think about it, the lens of a camera uh, is like the iris of our eye, and when you adjust the shutter, widening it and closing it, just like our pupil that dilates and contracts to let in more or less light. That's what uh, it's doing, is it's taking in less of our surroundings or more of our surroundings. A good example is nighttime versus daytime. In dark or low level lighting, our pupils will actually expand to allow more light to flood in so we can see more of our surroundings. And then the image that we see, our surroundings, gets projected onto the back of our brain, similar to how on a camera, the image that you're shooting gets projected onto film. And our eyes, in many ways, are actually a lot better than cameras. But in other areas, cameras are a lot better than our eyes, because if you think about it, cameras can see in a lot less light than what our eyes can, because our eyes just aren't made for dark or night vision. That's why it takes so long to adjust to the dark when we turn out the lights. So
how many lenses are typically in a camera, or like a standard, well, like a video camera that you would use to film? Because there's more than one lens in there, correct? It's not just one piece of glass that we're looking through.
correct. There's every lens that you use for a camera has multiple pieces of glass. The more pieces of glass that you typically have in a lens, the higher definition of the camera. So like the camera I shoot with, which is the Sony FX6, I've got just the standard what is it? It allows 35 stops of light, so 35 different levels of light to come through the lens. And it's got, I believe, 3 pieces of glass in it. So it's got the main glass that we all can see when we're looking at a lens, and then it's got one towards the middle part of the lens, and then one at the back. And that's before it actually gets to the lens that's built inside the camera itself.
Wow. Okay.
Oh man.
Right. So if you were setting up, let's say on a ghost hunt, right? If you're doing an investigation, I call it a ghost hunt. But what would you tell people? Like, if somebody came to you and said, "Okay, look at Cody, I want to try and get the best picture possible." What would you recommend to them?
It's all about angles and light. I mean, if you want to get the best picture possible, you need to have some sort of ambient light, whether it's like light coming in through outside, or even if you just leave on like a bathroom light or something within the location itself.
Right.
That would be the best thing, because it's all about light. I mean, unless you have a camera that can shoot in night vision or IR, for instance. But still, even then, you've got the IR light, and
Yeah.
night vision, all it does is enhance ambient light that's around you.
Okay.
Okay, so how would you respond when people send you pictures that they take on investigations? And I know you've gotten these as well. People take pictures of investigations, and they're all using their flash. How do you respond to that?
Ooh.
Because they do that, and of course, that causes other issues, and you can have false readings or false photographs of quote ghosts or orbs or things like that. So how would you respond if you don't have a light source and you're in a building that is completely black? It is completely, there's no light at all. What would
Right.
you suggest? Because a lot of people do use their flash.
I would say if you've got tools at your disposal, like we use a lot of red lens flashlights, not only because it's easier on our eyes, but if we are taking pictures or anything in the dark, then it doesn't flood out the camera like a flash would. And then plus two, you don't necessarily have to worry about picking up a bunch of like the dust orbs and everything that is naturally picked up when a flash goes off. Because when a flash goes off, all those orbs that people think are the ghosties, that's just the reflection of the light coming off of dust particles or moisture particles that are in the air.
Right.
I mean, I can't think of any photos during an investigation that we've taken where, like, for instance, Roberta or somebody's using their red lens flashlight and we take a picture and orbs don't show up. Or I haven't seen any.
Right. But have you seen legitimate ghost photographs? And if so, how would you explain how they're actually taken? I mean, in what the environment would actually look like? Have you seen like legitimate ones?
I've seen, in the time that I've been with our team, I've seen one, and it was one that all of us tried to see if we could logically explain. I mean, one of our investigators was actually ready to fire the person that took this photo that was taken in a graveyard because they thought they were faking it. And he, again, like Trevor mentioned earlier, he pulled up all the metadata and all the things that tell you about that photo, and it wasn't doctored at all. And to this day, we haven't explained it. And as far as I know, it was taken with just a standard camera. It was during the daytime, and there was no flash used.
What was
They
it?
also
Right
and that was it. They weren't trying to pass it off as an orb or a light flare or anything like that. This was of an actual shadow person.
Yeah,
and
like a full.
Yeah. And it was like, but it was still, I remember looking at the picture going, that's too good to be true. It was just,
Right.
it was too good to be true, but no, we could not disprove that one at all. So, and of course, we have faith in our team members as well, that they're not trying to pull one over on us, but yeah, that was pretty cool. Cause like, and kind of what Cody said, I mean, you got to really pay attention to the light around you. If you're taking pictures in broad daylight, and you got that big old ball of fire up there, and you got those lenses, and this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier about the multiple lenses, because that creates those light flares, those spots that you see of light. Cody, how does that work? Light flares,
Light flares. So it could be anything, the way the light naturally bounces off the lens. So like, for instance, if you're let's say you and I are on an investigation, we're in a room and I'm standing to the right hand side of you with like a light on, and I'm facing to the right and you're facing straight ahead, and you go to take a picture, just the way I have my light shining like that and when you take that picture, the way that light is reflected into the lens or is bouncing or reflecting off the lens, that could cause a light flare. I mean, even if you've got imperfections in the glass of your camera lens, like we've all seen it, some camera lenses that have like little bubbles or whatever, those are baked into every single thing you film, every single thing you shoot. So stuff like that's going to show up every single time you take a picture.
When you're looking through the camera, when you're actually, and I know it might be a little, because like I haven't had a new camera. I don't have a new camera. The last camera I used was probably one of those old disposable Kodak ones, when we used to take them to those kiosks and drop them off and come back an hour later and pick up our pictures. So I don't know, if people still use the little sight glass on their cameras to look at what they're doing, or if they just try to look at the screen. But can you see the light flares or the orbs or anything while you're taking the picture, or right before, when you're lining everything up? Is that something that shows up in your field of view before you take the shot?
Not really.
So people wouldn't even know that that's what they're catching. Okay.
Yeah. Again, too, because 90% of the time, especially with technology nowadays, it's, unless you're on like a major motion picture set where you have to look through the through the little thing in the camera. Most people have all these monitor. I mean, even directors on movie sets, they're looking at monitors all the time. So,
Mhm.
I mean, stuff won't show up on your monitor, but it will show up on the actual film or the actual video.
Interesting.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
true. Most people take their pictures these days with their cell phones.
Right.
And,
Mhm.
that's the big argument too, that you don't see them like orbs or anything when you're taking the picture. But
Right.
when you're reviewing the picture, that's when you might pick up on something. How do you respond to that?
You mean are you meaning like as far as like if like a ghost or
Yeah.
someone shows up? I got this picture of a ghost.
Right.
We'll look at it, and again, I don't look at a ton of the photos and stuff as many, nearly as many as like Pete and Trevor have, but the ones that I do, I just look for imperfections in the
Right.
film, okay, where was this picture taken? Oh, it was taken of my bedroom right over here. Okay, could have been you had your bathroom light on, right? Yeah, I had my bathroom light on. So it could have been the way that the light was filtering out of the bathroom at the time that you took the photo, or like an actual photo with something in it. If I can have it in like digital form,
Yeah.
like you again, you look for those imperfections. Like you can zoom in on the photo because nature hates straight lines. There's no straight lines in nature, It's like if you zoom in far enough before pixelation starts to set in, which pixelation is where things start to distort and it looks like a bunch of little squares.
Yeah.
More often than not, that'll tell you if like something has been superimposed on top of a background image, like uh like for instance, right now the way I look, I've got Western Idaho Paranormal behind me, and if you notice, I'm moving my hand, there's like that slight green hazy
Pixelation that
effect,
happens. Yeah.
pixelation and stuff. Like you look for stuff like that, and okay, that's been superimposed. Which if you look throughout history at like some of the more notable ghost photos that have been taken throughout history, one that always comes to mind, very famous photo of Mary Todd Lincoln with Abraham Lincoln. They didn't have the technology we have nowadays. That was actually double exposure, is what that was. So a picture on top of a picture.
Right. Right. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
find because you were talking about Trevor, the old Kodak cameras and stuff like that. But would you have found that those were more reliable as far as like spirit photography goes, or more the digital type?
You think
Are you
that
asking me?
yeah, she's asking you, what
Oh,
would be better, 35 millimeter film
I would
or
say 35 millimeter film versus digital,
Right.
because there's just so much that you can do with digital, and you can do it too with 35 millimeter or just regular film, but the process to try to fake something is a lot more complicated, takes more
Right.
time, and the
Yeah.
slightest mistake, you ruin the entire picture. Like you can
Yeah.
overexpose it, underexpose it,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
not like Photoshop where you can just press clear and start from beginning.
It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
It's true.
Right.
Mhm. Like
Let's
Trevor was mentioning earlier about that promo that we shot
yeah.
for the convention that we did. Like if you watch the video, I mean, if you really pay attention, you can probably pick it out. But there were just some shots that I could not pull off when I was editing the video. But to look at it and watch it, unless you like stop it or know where to look, you wouldn't be able to tell. Like there was a special effect, one scene with Trevor's daughter that they wanted a ghost special effect that I put together, and it was basically her live action, her moving, doing her actions, superimposed on top of a still photograph that was a background.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So it's a lot easier with digital than it would be 35 millimeter.
Can you explain to people the matrixing? Just so that, because I think that a lot of people get very confused with, when we're looking at a photo and they're like, oh, I see this and I see that. Can you explain matrixing to people?
Yeah, it's no different than pareidolia, where what happens is our brains are wired to make things make sense. So like if you look at a cloud or something, your brain will try to form a picture and make it make sense. That's why so many of us will see faces in the clouds or be like, oh, that cloud looks like a duck or whatever, Matrixing is basically the exact same thing. Your brain is trying to take inanimate objects, things of irregular shape, and it's trying to find within that irregularity shapes that look familiar to us, whether it's like
Right.
an eye, a face, a nose, like people see Jesus in toast, and then try to sell it on
Yeah.
eBay.
Yeah.
When actually all it is just irregularities in the object that you're looking at.
But then with people, like, okay, so let's say, I see Jesus in toast. There's a lot of, I'm not exactly sure what the psychological actual term would be, so I'm just going to call it sheep mentality. But, like, then you can basically sell that off, like, oh, don't you see Jesus? How do you not see Jesus? Well, you see Jesus, I see Jesus, you see Jesus, you got to see Jesus. So now you're basically creating, that mentality where everybody is starting, and anybody that's sitting there and going, well, I don't see it. You guys are ridiculous. How dare you say that that's not Jesus on the toast? Right?
Yep. And we see it when we're investigating all the time. It's
right?
like, oh,
Yeah.
did you hear that? What did you hear? And
Yeah.
if you don't tell them what you heard, but as soon as you mention like an EVP says hello, we're all going to hear hello,
Yes, exactly. There was a really good video I saw the other day where, they were basically, it was people chanting and they were like, okay, well, what are they chanting? And everybody, it wasn't until you actually, it was all these different comments, I hear this and I hear this and I hear this. And then it wasn't until somebody said, well, I hear this, like the main speaker. Oh yeah, I heard that too, and then everybody's like, where it was completely different from the original, right? But
right.
I think that we get a lot of that. Would you like, so I remember, because I haven't really investigated for a long time, but I mean, the main thing was doing the 3 pictures, 1, 2, 3, 3 in a row. Do you guys still do this? Is this still do you still recommend it, or is it still something that you would tell people, to do, like do the 3 pictures in a row?
I would have to say yes. I mean, like that's why we set up a camera that constantly every 3 to 5 seconds takes photos. Something appears in this photo, but the first 10 photos ahead of it and the last 10 photos after it, there's nothing there. But if you've got multiple photos either leading up to whatever it is you're questioning or that precedes it afterwards, if you can see and trace like a steady decline or incline, you could be like, oh, well, no, that was something moving, and it just so happened when the shutter went off, it captured the full thing. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm horrible at explaining stuff.
No, no, you're absolutely right, man. Because like we get the pictures that people send us, they send us one photograph. We'll get one photograph of that. This is what we're looking at. It's like, okay, well, what were you looking at 2 seconds prior? What happened 2 seconds after? And so yeah, and that's what whenever we're taking pictures, whether we're using our we set up a camera that is full spectrum, and that's our camera that just fires off automatically every 3 to 5 seconds. We go through thousands of photos.
I bet. Hey, holy crap!
You know, but you know, that way, if something does come up, though, we can show what was leading up to and after the photo was those photos were taken, and knowing how much time was in between. You know, it's like, well, it takes. And we'll be able to show examples of this is what it looked like when a person walks across the front of the camera because we've been taking pictures all night. This is what it looks like, you know, when the lights are on, when the lights are off, you know, and all that stuff. And people don't get that, you know, you've got to have, you know, that one photo in time typically isn't enough to prove something is paranormal. Otherwise, it's just a really cool picture. So sometimes.
Well, that's why I kind of giggle when people get so upset about this one apparent orb that they're, you know, trying to, whatever it is, right? Like, no, I know that it's this. It's like, okay, but you're asking us to fully put faith into what you're saying, even though we weren't there, we heard nothing, we were not a part of this in any way, shape, or form. I mean, you know, your cat could have just, you know, licked himself and fur balls flew all over the place. We don't know, or you know,
and it's no different than EVPs, right? People send us EVPs all the time, and unless you know, we know who was there, you know, how many people were there, what they sound like, you know, and they send us that one little 2-second clip. I mean, it's like,
yeah, you just don't
it's
know.
A whisper. I don't know who did it, so
no, you just don't know. But we always get. And now more and more people have them. We always get a security camera video and to look at. And some of them are definitely, they're not very compelling, but some of them actually are. And I don't know whether it's just a testament to the quality of the camera, but some of them actually make sense. And I've seen some what look like, and I am a believer in orb anomalies. It's the way that
you actually are one of the few people that have a photo of an actual orb. You know, that we've seen that is not because you were in a dark space. You didn't use a flash.
Nope.
And you've got this orb that's producing its own light right there in the middle of the room. And that's what I've told people, you know, forever. It's like that's the only way you can say that it's an actual orb. If you've got no source of light whatsoever and you get a picture of a ball of light,
well,
that's an orb.
Exactly. So, and a lot of that video, like the security video, and there was one in particular that we did receive. It was the way that this orb anomaly or supposed orb anomaly was behaving. Because, you know, you see the dust ones that are everywhere. But this one in particular, it was behaving strangely. So it would stop and it would sort of move here and then it would stop. So honestly, I don't know why, but lately I think it's just the security cameras are getting so good and the quality is so good. I mean, have you seen some of those as well, Cody?
I have, yeah. I mean, they're starting to make security cameras now that, you know, 1080p, high definition, 3K, 4K. And it's funny because the human eye cannot naturally see in 4K, but cameras can.
Right.
So.
Well, I tell you, I have one of those Ring doorbells, and I mean, the quality on that bugger is even amazingly well. It is amazingly good, and even in the night, like it's even got, you know, if you know, if somebody's walking down the street, you know, it's even picking up on a lot of that, right? So they're like amazing. And then you see these grainy ones, and you're like, if my doorbell camera is better quality than like this is a security place or a hospital or something, they've got these grainy, you know, like you're like, what?
And it's amazing because we still don't have a clear photo of a UFO or Bigfoot. So,
right,
100%, right? Yeah. Like,
it's funny that you actually brought up the Bigfoot thing, because going back to like what Lynda was asking earlier about, like, you know, series of 3 photographs. I mean, we've all seen the famous Patterson-Gimlin film, the only one to this day that
Yeah.
still has yet to be proven or disproven, but scientists are leaning more towards, I mean, I was on one of my overnights that I had, I was watching some documentary, I think it was on History or Travel Channel, where not only were they able to basically take the original Patterson-Gimlin film and treat it to where they could make it a little bit more crisp, a little bit more high definition, but just like the series of 3 photos that you were asking about, Lynda, is they literally took the entire video, frame by frame by frame, and analyzed each individual frame of the Bigfoot that we're all familiar with seeing.
Yeah.
And I mean, famous Bigfoot people like the professor down in Pocatello, Idaho, that's a professor at Idaho State University, and Cliff Barrickman, they've even said, yeah, you can actually see muscle tone, muscle mass, definition, stuff that shouldn't be there, stuff that would not show up if it
Right.
was a person in a costume.
That's
Right.
pretty
And
amazing.
so, I mean, yeah, it's just amazing. And
Well, it could also be
I
things
think
that
that was
people
all
wouldn't
35
think
millimeter.
about,
Yeah.
right?
So
It
we
would be
talk-
things that people wouldn't think about. Like, who's going to think about putting muscle definition into some Sasquatch film from like 19 whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you don't think about stuff like that. Like, it just wouldn't. It wouldn't be forefront on your mind. You're just like, okay, let's put this costume on him and have him run around. Like that would be your basic thought process on that. We were talking about the 3 photographs, and it was interesting because I actually found these in, I'm pretty sure this is one of them, but we were at, I think it was the Maritimers Museum in Victoria, and I was with Peter, and we had the motion detector, and it took the 3 shots, like one right after the X. I only have 2 of the photos. I'm not sure because we only uploaded 2 of them to this, but this is one of them. There, you can kind of see, to the left there, that person sort of. I don't know if you can, but then it's kind of right. So you can see, right? There was a clearer one, I'm pretty sure. I don't know where it is right now, but if you look to the left, you can kind of see that person that looks like they have the long hair, maybe a beard, even wearing a white. This was in the where they do that's where they had the that's where they would hold the prisoners before the executions.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, and he after we had done that investigation, he had been looking to going through the evidence and stuff like that, and that showed up.
What lighting were you using for that?
I honestly don't know. You would have to ask him. It was, obviously it was some sort of filter, but I'm not sure. I think it was because the lights were off, so it might have been some sort of.
It looked kind of full spectrum-ish. So,
Huh?
because it didn't look IR, it didn't look like it was just IR. It looked more of a full spectrum. Because that's also something I wanted to ask Cody about is light spectrums.
Yeah.
We talk about infrared lighting. We talk about, what is full spectrum lighting?
So full spectrum lighting. Okay, so the easiest way to explain it is everything we see around us all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It lies within maybe a millimeter of the entire light spectrum called the visible light or white light. Everything beyond that, towards the higher range of the spectrum, is infrared, and towards the lower portion of the spectrum is called ultraviolet. Those are the parts of the spectrum that we cannot see with our naked eye. So a great analogy that I use this in my presentation. I'll probably misquote it, but anyways, if you think about it this way, if you were to take a 500-mile long piece of film and lay it out straight, let's say that entire 500 miles of film represents the entire light spectrum, all the way from ultraviolet through visible light up to infrared. The portion that we would be able to see would probably be about an inch long. So a very tiny portion of the entire light spectrum. And that's what a lot of our cameras, the full spectrum camera, basically it takes that entire spectrum and it projects it all at the same time. So everything you see within, like the photo you just showed, Kathy, is we're seeing the entire light spectrum. That's why it looks pinky, purpley, is because we're seeing ultraviolet, we're seeing visible, and we're seeing infrared.
Okay.
So let's see that photo again, Kathy.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, if you look at it, the table or I'm assuming that's a wood table.
Yeah, it was like a table or a shelving unit of some sort.
Yeah, so it kind of looks purpley or bluey, right? So that's on the cooler portion or the ultraviolet, and then the pinks and the whites and the hots, those are towards the higher end of the light spectrum. So your infrared, your visible light, and you're seeing it all at the same time.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I remember when we saw that because when we saw that picture when Peter showed me, I was just like, "Holy man!" Like, because it was just,
It's
it
crazy.
was,
That is a cool photo.
yeah, it
cool
really
photo.
was. Yeah.
One of the other things you kind of mentioned. Go ahead, Kathy.
No, I wasn't really.
I was going off on another question, so.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
One of the things that you kind of talk about, because we talk about light spectrums, and it's how our eyesight changes as we get older. One of the and so because we talk about children and how they see the world differently than maybe an adult does. Can you touch on that?
So yeah, again, you'd have to pull it up because I don't have my sources pulled up, but it's been scientifically proven that children before puberty, they see on I'm not going to say a different light spectrum, but they see on a wider array of the light spectrum. And then as we get older and our eyes start to deteriorate and we hit puberty and maturity, and our bodies start to settle into place, then our eyes see less of the spectrum. And it's funny because as we get older, one of the things that a lot of people, they start to lose their eyesight or it starts to diminish over time, so they've proven that kids can see a wider array of the spectrum than we can as adults. So that's why we always say when, if your child comes up and says, "Mommy, I, don't necessarily discount it."
Yeah.
Yeah. The kid's saying like, "I see a creepy shadow person in my closet," that's maybe they really are seeing something that we're not. Yeah. But is it true that, we still, part of our eyes can still see some of that spectrum? Is that why we see things out of our peripheral so much? Or is that just
so? Not necessarily that, but it's our peripheral is more attuned to picking up movement. So like that's why a lot of times, like I can be talking to you guys right now, and out of my peripheral, I'll see my kid run by or something, or just like the cat. It's like because our peripheral is more tuned. It goes back to that survival instinct that I don't like cavemanish thing, fight for survival.
Right.
Your eyes pick up what the danger that's around you, and so that's why your peripheral is more tuned to movement than what you're looking at directly in front of you.
Wow. I'd
like
to
have that thing where you like actually look at something and it just kind of disappears, like when you're focusing on it. You ever had that happen to you? It happens to me a lot. Yeah, like you'll be looking at something right in front of you, and then maybe it's at a distance, and all of a sudden you can't see it. But then you shift your focus a little bit away from it, and it comes into view again. Yeah. What is that all about?
Tunnel vision. Basically, you start to I don't know how to explain it, but like you start to tune it out. Basically, it starts to become normal, and then when you glance away, you're introducing a new element of your surroundings, and so that brings it back, and you're like, oh, it's does that make sense?
Yeah,
it does. It does make sense. It's interesting because I had cataract surgery, right? Okay, so before my surgery, my lenses, of course, cataracts, your lenses are really clouded. And when I had the cataract surgery and they replaced my lenses, for a very long time. First of all, everything was incredibly colorful and everything was incredibly bright. It was almost as if I was seeing things for the very first time. But shortly after I had my second surgery and both of my eyes were done, we went on a paranormal investigation. And it was really interesting how I was picking up on all of these nuances and shadows and all of these things that I never picked up on before, almost like I had new eyes. So I'd love to do a study on people who've had cataract surgery and how that's affected their paranormal investigations and the way that they're looking at the world. Because even now, I can see so much better, and I'm very aware of all of those things that are happening in my peripheral vision, and I can really see a lot of shadows, almost like I've got new little eyes. It's the weirdest thing.
That would be a cool study. And I've investigated in a lot of places with Trevor, you know. I like to team up with Trevor a lot, but there was this location that we used to do in Oregon, and we're down in the basement, and it's like there's things documented with, and we get the same thing over and over, and the little girl that likes to frequent that area. But it's like I'll be looking directly into the corner where I know she likes to frequent, and like Trevor, you know, that's why we say don't get fixated on any one area, or don't get fixated on your screen, you know, pay attention to your surroundings. But like, I'll be looking straight, not seeing anything. And then Trevor will be scanning the area, and out of his peripheral, he'll see the little girl. Or, you know, I think we were on that investigation together, right? When you were seeing her, but I wasn't seeing her.
Yeah, that was probably one of the highest moments of my paranormal career. That was pretty amazing. That we were we were at this location, and it was just three of us down in the basement. We weren't. I don't think we had any. It's normally a public investigation at that location. And I'd heard stories about the little girl. We caught her voice multiple times, and yeah, that's what it was. We were sitting there, and I was just standing listening to the guy that was trying to do an EVP session. Cody was off to my right, and Cody must have been looking in that direction. But out of the corner of my eye, I just saw just a slight movement that just attracted my attention. And when I looked over, there was it looked like a little girl kind of half hiding behind one of the support posts down there.
Yeah,
because I could see a hand, like kind of like she was kind of like peeking around the post, looking at what we were doing, and I could see hair, and I could see a sleeve, and I could see a dress, you know. And I probably watched her for a couple minutes, trying in my mind, in investigation mode, thinking, what am I looking at? You know, this is what I think it is, but I mean, come on, what am I really looking at here? You know, and then I asked Cody to shine a flashlight up in that direction, and as soon as he put that light up, nothing there. So, but the cool part about it was the validation that came afterwards when when we did our team debrief. The person that was leading the investigation pulled me aside and was able to tell me that on 4 other occasions people had reported seeing this little girl, and they reported it to the detail that I had reported it, which is really, really cool. So yeah,
that's a nice validation right there. Log, even if
keeping a log of things that if you, and for anybody that's investigating, you know, and you're investigating the same location over and over again, having those logs available so that when people who have never seen those or talk to other people that have investigated their experience those things, that just 100% validates everything that's going on in that building. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask one more question before we sign off here. With the popularity of AI, do you see that affecting spirit photography at all? Like, do you see that hindering, I guess, the photographs or the video evidence and stuff like that or maybe enhancing it? I'm not sure.
I haven't seen it yet, but from what I know about AI, I would have to say that we just have to be really, really careful because just like any tool, it's how we use it, whether it helps us or hinders us. But it's definitely a step towards just another way that we have to be more careful because
More
it's just
cautious.
it's one more tool in the bag of tricks that people can
Yeah.
use to try to trick us. And it's just like artificial intelligence, it's so easy. Like you take a picture and it's like, hey Siri, insert a ghost in my photo, and next thing you know, it pulls up all this crap and you can just like
Yeah.
copy and paste the ghost in your, you know.
Yeah.
But
At
I
the same
definitely
time,
say we have to be careful with it.
yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those hurdles that we're going to have to get over as far as being able to validate people's photos and stuff that they send in. On the other hand, though, being able to utilize it in a system where you can actually input activity in a location over a period of time,
Right.
I think AI might be able to help predict activity in a location at particular times as well. You know, that might actually improve our odds of actually catching real stuff, you know, but
Yeah.
it's going to have to still be on equipment that isn't being used by AI, you know, that stuff that we can, you know, we
Yeah.
can prove that it wasn't doctored, you know. It's technology, man. It's like one of those double-edged swords, you know. It's in one end. I mean, it's like the internet. The internet is amazing. I mean, we can do stuff like this.
Yeah.
We can use it for educational purposes, and yet at the same time, we can also destroy our minds looking at stuff we
We
shouldn't
were
be looking
talking about
at.
that yesterday at dinner. Like,
true.
you know, because we got 3 generations there. Well, not 3 but you know, my kids were born, you know, one in 91, one in 95, and then, you know, my son in 205. And so there's a massive difference in the internet from those time periods, right? Like 91 was internet's
Oh,
just
yeah.
kind of coming out, like it's woof, you know, right? So my oldest didn't grow up with like, you know, the internet. She, you know, she was already a teenager by the time you know, MySpace came out and stuff. And that was, you know, pretty much the beginning of, you know, teenage internet. Like they weren't really doing a whole lot more than that, you know. But you know, and then 95 is, you know, my daughter was, you know, that daughter would have been more involved in the internet. And then my son, I mean, he doesn't know life without the internet. He has no concept of it, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, even when he was young, I mean, he's going, you know, now he's going to college for what, computer science, so that he, you know, so because he's a bloody little genius on the computer. But you know, but
The-
the expansion is so different in such a short amount of time too.
It is. And I think overall with everything we've discussed tonight, I would have to say the biggest takeaway that I want people to be aware of, just like DNA doesn't know how to lie, our fingerprints don't know how to lie. Every single piece of video footage, every single photograph,
Yeah.
the metadata does not know how to lie. It's the
Good point.
individual fingerprint of that particular photo. No 2 photos are going to have the same exact metadata. All you got to do is look at that, because it's not going to lie. It's going to tell you whether something's been faked, how it's been faked.
Right.
Yeah,
But you got to know how to read. You got to know what it is you're looking at, how to read it.
Absolutely.
I love it.
That's a really good point. Really good
That was
point.
great.
Thank you so much, Cody, for being here with
Oh,
us.
yeah.
It was such a pleasure. We love having you here. So we're going to be doing it again, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
everybody out
for
there, make
watching.
sure that make sure you subscribe, share the channel, get the word out. If you enjoy what we're talking about, yeah, get some friends to come chat with us.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
I'll be in the
Thank
chats
you.
next week.
Yes.
Thanks, Cody.
Have a great week, everybody, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.
Bye.